You're the genius 20 years old dude that is doing almost 1 million a month.
We did like $7 million last month. What's the margin on this? Like 60%. I haven't seen my father since I was like 9 at the time, and still haven't now. And my mother always struggled financially. We'd meet in the toilets, I'd sell the vapes, and all the teachers knew I was doing it. But they would never catch me because I would hide them in the roof. Remember when I dropped out the day I did? Shaved my head, made a video with my family in the background. I'm like, I'm gonna be a millionaire in the next 3 years, or I will die trying. I promise every single person watching this.
I'm excited to have you here, bro. How
Let's
are
get
you?
it, man. I'm very, very good.
How's Bali?
On your side of the world.
Bro, I love it. I love it, mate. I'm so excited to have you here. We've been together in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, and now we're catching up here in Bali.
Yep.
You're the genius 20 years old dude that is doing almost 1 million a month.
We're getting there.
How does that feel?
I mean, I think it feels pretty normal because I'm so used to it. I think it's like anything, you know, you get exposed to it and it becomes normalized. And it's like for you, what you do probably feels normal, but compared
100%.
to somebody living here or somebody
Yeah.
anywhere, really, it's like that is insane as well. So I wish I could say I feel like I'm a special snowflake. I know I am, but at the same time, it feels completely normal.
So in today's podcast, I want to ask you more about like how you get into there, like what was the personal, like your childhood and what actually forges you as an entrepreneur, because bro, like 20 years old doing like 700K a month is fucking insane, bro. I've been doing online business for almost a decade and this is some good results. So I think it can be very inspiring for the community. Here it's like mostly e-com guys, online entrepreneur. You have an AI agency, right?
Yep.
Like, how does that work? Like AI agency, I feel like everyone want to create their AI agency. Why everyone is like failing at it?
Yeah, it's very, very true. I mean, the way I see it is the agency, like AI space, has so many different buckets of ways that you can make money with, and like the fulfillment model. You've got like the most common one, which is the trend right now that everybody's going into, which is, oh, I'm going to sell like an AI solution to a business. I don't really think that's the best way of growing an agency, because the problem with just going, hey, I'm going to build you an AI solution is, well, if you have industry experience in one specific industry and you know like 3 or 4 things, they would never build themselves, and it can have a financial impact. Makes sense. If it's recurring, if it's sticky. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's like, oh, I'm going to plug in a chatbot on your website, and what, you're going to charge them $200 a month? Like it's not even worth it. And then there's the other side of it, which people might argue is an AI agency, which is just delivering, running ads, calling their leads, whatever it may be, like an existing marketing agency fulfillment model, and just using AI to help with margin, efficiency, and profitability. So there's like those 2 buckets. I think the reason people fail is, as people fail in every single business model. I think as well with the AI agency model, it's such a big trend and you need literally no capital to get started. There are so many people going into it, but you look at like out of 100% of people that start, maybe only 10% of people, if that, make like $1,000. Then 1% get to $10,000 a month. It's like people start to realize that it's not what it seems. It's a lot harder than what people make it out to be.
So how you would position it? Like you say, like focus on like online businesses, sell it to online businesses, sell it to who then? How would you position yourself? Like what happened for yourself? If you introduce like your story, like what would you say to
so zooming out on it, I didn't know this at the time, but this is what I was doing, which is whenever you go in to start a new agency or you go into a new market, you want to ask yourself 3 things, which is the 3 S's when you position an offer. It's, who is my specific person? Who am I going to serve? It can't just be online entrepreneurs. It's like, I serve med spas that specialize in high ticket skin and body facial aesthetic treatments as an example. That's a niche. Then we've got specific problem. What's the specific problem you're trying to solve? For me, it was med spas, and the problem I was solving is the fact that they didn't have a predictable and scalable patient acquisition system. They don't have enough clients coming in that are financially qualified. And then the specific way. And this is how you differentiate yourself, because it's very easy to get lost in this sea of just being a typical Facebook ad agency that just gets decommoditized on price, and you're stuck charging $500 a month or doing pay on results because you're not positioned as different. So for us, that positioning right now is we have our specific way of being our patient profit funnel. And there's a number of pillars or steps that go into how we position that as different. So like zooming out, I think they're the most important things you need to understand before you go into starting an agency. Or if you're just like serving everyone. I see this trap as well where people get like 5 or 10 clients and it's in like 10, different niches.
Yeah.
And then they just get stuck
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there for 3 years, bro, before.
Yeah, and I've been there as well when I had like 10, 20 clients. And then you start getting clients coming in and going, oh, I actually have a friend who's a construction company. I have a friend that's a dentist. I have a friend that's a chiropractor. And you're just looking at the immediate short term of like, yeah, that sounds great. You take them on and you realize the fulfillment is completely different. The sales process is different. There's no way you can standardize that and remove yourself. So, I mean, it's a lesson that I think everybody learns. Simple scales and fancy fails.
At that time when you were running the med spa agency, what was like your unique way? If it was not like Facebook ads, I hear everyone like, I'm doing it using Facebook ads. So how you were doing it at that time?
So the positioning of your offer has to change with time.
I see.
When I first ran ads to med spas to get clients in the US, which was, I think, early 2024, something along those lines, my unique positioning was literally just going after one specific device and having a guarantee. Usually when you have no social proof and you have very little knowledge on a market, you don't know the language they speak, how to position yourself, you usually have to supplement that with having a crazy offer that's usually pay on results.
I see.
So for me, because the sophistication of that market at the time was very low, they hadn't seen people guaranteeing and promising things. The state of the market now is completely different. They've seen it all.
I see.
Our guarantee was like, we'll get you 30 patients in 30 days or you don't pay. But the reality is, a lot of them would come on the call and completely forget about that and just get sold on the system. But if we go to now, it is completely different. It's almost like because the market is so sophisticated, they are completely conditioned to remove all biases towards ever going towards an agency that has a guarantee.
I see.
They're like, I don't trust them. I've been scammed too many times. So then our positioning now is basically just throwing shade on those people and building a funnel for them that develops trust with a lot of retargeting content, with a lot of, short form that we retarget them with, a lot of long form. As well, our entire sales process is geared towards making sure that it's more of a consultative sales process rather than a very salesy sales process they're typically used to.
I see. So like you do a diagnostic, you see what's the best way to help them. But then like how you standardize your product if you do this? Then it means like every guy you do like different stuff.
Not necessarily, no. So the way we see it is, and I got this from Cole Gordon, it's a really good quote that I've lived by, which is your solution needs to be the simultaneous reason why everything else they've tried in the past has failed and why your solution is different. Because in marketing, new is always better than better. If I get on the phone with you and you're an agency that serves med spas and I've been burned by 10 agencies that run Facebook ads and you get on the call and pitch me Facebook ads, I'm immediately going to look back in historical associations and go, hold on, this doesn't work. I'm not going to try this again. So the way we position it and position ourselves as different is the discovery and the sales call is the most important part. We understand what they've tried, why it didn't work. We dive deep on that. And then we find chinks in the armor, like gaps in what they didn't try that we have. So the pitch changes a little bit, but what we actually deliver is very similar. It's just that we highlight certain things that we know that they didn't know about or try in the past in the sales process.
Just use on the call, there will be like some leverages, things that like they lack on, and they will say that's their problem, and you will work on those. Like
exactly.
I see.
Yeah, so it's like, for example, let's say a med spa comes on the call and we're going through discovery, and they say they tried an agency that ran Facebook ads that had a call center, but that call center was based in the Philippines and they were US based. As a prime example, that's a big one that we get.
Yeah.
So our selling point would be, hey, we don't have just a call center that's offshore that's not going to qualify the leads and bring in the right people you want. Our team are aesthetic trained, meaning they know everything about Botox, fillers, injectables, and they're onshore. And they're purely paid on a commission basis to get you people through the door. So they only get paid when you get paid, which means our incentives are aligned, which means that I've took what they historically tried and I'll explain why it didn't work. The reason why it didn't work is because you didn't have this. There's a way we solve that problem is insert our solution, which is like one level up to what they tried before.
Very interesting. Bro, I have so many questions for the agency side.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you like too many things, but like, bro, let's get started with the beginning of the story. So people get to know you, like, how come like a guy that's so young, like you made it like so quick? So bro, like guide us from like high school, what happened like in your story to get into this online business journey that early, bro. Like, if you can get us at the beginning of your story, and then we will talk a lot about agency. I have so many questions for you.
Yeah. For me, it started when I was like 15. So I always found that in school, it wasn't that I was like stupid. I was pretty intelligent. I just didn't want to try. It was like when I wasn't interested in something, I wouldn't allocate any attention to it. But if there was something that I cared about, I would hone in on that shit and I would obsess over it.
I see.
So for me, the first thing that came to mind was, when Andrew Tate was blowing up.
So that was that time?
Yeah. Before that, I was an extreme degenerate in high school. So because growing up in the UK in a small town, there's nothing to do. So drugs are the forefront of everything. And that was just the reality of it. It was like every drug by 14, 15 was completely normalized there. Which I'm very grateful for. I'm grateful for it because it's like I got that and I realized what I didn't want. I
see.
experienced all that for a few years when I was very young. And then from there, I was like, okay, I grew up in a single mother household, haven't seen my father since I was like 9 at the time,
Okay.
and still haven't now. And my mother always struggled financially. And I was in a position where I was like, we were always bouncing from house to house. Not like, to be clear, not like we were going to go homeless or anything. But it was like we had so much instability where we'd go from like a 4-bed house to a 2-bed to living with my grandparents again.
I see.
Everything would be so unstable. And for me, I was like, it's my responsibility to be the breadwinner. I had a lot of pent up anger for my father because I'm like, how can you like bring somebody onto this planet and not provide for them, not make them become the best man they can be? So I think that was a big drive for me. Anyway, to cut it short, started selling vapes. That was my first business.
Okay.
So
So watching Andrew Tate's videos.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, let's try to do some business selling vapes. What's the first one?
I'm like, look, I need to figure out how to make some money online or just money in general. Everybody wants vapes. There's like disposable vapes that were blowing up. So I was like, okay, I can go and buy them for like $5 each in batch and sell them for 10. So I did that. And I would...
So like in high school, you mean?
I would literally, in the school toilets, that would be my place. We'd meet in the toilets, I'd sell the vapes, and all the teachers knew I was doing it. But they would never catch me because I would hide them in the roof. Like, they would literally, every day I'd come in, they go, how's the vape business, Cam? I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just deny it. So
That's crazy.
That was my first business. And, you know, I was obviously doing some other shady stuff in school. But then after that, I was like, okay, this was great for me to make a few $1,000s.
Okay.
But I need to like actually build
Like,
something.
you were doing like $1,000 per month, you mean at that time?
Yeah, like
Selling vapes.
Selling vapes and you know, I went down a bit of a bad path and was selling drugs a little bit here and there. And I was making like $1,000 a month when I was like 15 or something like that.
I see.
Which was not bad. I mean, I was balling for my age, to say the least. But then I was like, okay, I need to build something that's like actually legit now. So then I joined Andrew Tate's Hustlers University.
Of course,
50,
obviously.
I think it was like $50 a month, something like that. And I was copywriting, writing emails and ad copy for people, so on and so forth. And that taught me how to market to a degree.
How do you get the clients first?
I literally I was in Andrew Tate's Hustlers University for like 6 to 12 months. I made nothing. But one thing it did teach me is that it's never as easy as you think it is. And you heavily underestimate how much work needs to go on behind the scenes.
Of course.
It's like success operates on the law of lagging indicators.
So you would say that the whole content was like impregnating in your mind.
Yeah, man.
During this year, like it was like some kind of, I don't know if you can say like dad figure at some point, like very
bro.
inspiring. And
That's the way that I saw him at the time. And I know he said some things that were kind of fucked up.
Of course.
But at the same time, I'm like, majority of what this guy says is right. And I need to be able to
go all in.
Go all in, provide for myself financially, set myself up and my family. So was doing copywriting, managed to finally land my first client, writing blog articles for him. He was paying me $400 a month for one blog article a week. And I was like, this is just nothing. And I came across SMMA then after like a year. Which was from Thomas Gonnet, who actually lives here as well. I'm sure you're familiar. And he did a video on like how he was working with med spas. And like generating them leads and running their ads. And I'm like, holy shit, this is the answer. Because my problem with copywriting was it wasn't quantifiable. I can't go to a business and go, these words on this screen, I can guarantee you they're going to make you this, because I can't, right? It's all based on distribution, where they put them, all of it. So then I saw Thomas Gonnet serving med spas, running ads for them. I'm like, oh, this is genius. I copied that guy verbatim, everything.
So we're like 2 years after now. You're 17 at that time.
I'm like 16 here.
Okay.
I copied everything. I must have watched that video like 20 times of him going through and showing everything on how he sold, how he fulfilled. And I basically just built on that, man. So obviously it was a grind initially. The first year, didn't really get a
So
client.
Thomas was doing it in the US? Or?
He was doing it in the US.
So you just did the same in the UK?
I did the same in the UK, and I was cold calling 200 dials a day. And I would just go, you know what? Don't pay me anything. I want pay on results, because I understood at that time I needed to learn before I focused on earning.
I see.
So I got like my first 5 clients. They literally paid me nothing. I learned how to run ads, how to onboard clients, how to fulfill. And then from there, it just took off, man. I went to the US. I had some money from there. I started running ads, started building momentum and investing in all these programs. And then from there, it was just like this continuous feedback loop of like, what lessons can I learn? How do I implement? How do I move with speed?
When you mean took off, like how much money you were making? Like what was the first like big deals? Like I see a lot of guys, like when they go through med spas, they stay stuck at low ticket. How you make it, how you manage to make some good money with it?
I would argue as well, we're still pretty low ticket even now. Our average client retainer is like $2,500 a month. And you can compare that to other agencies that might charge 10, 20, 50. but we've just got really good at pushing volume and being really good at acquisition and retention. So initially I started with clients literally paying me nothing.
Okay.
And then it was commission. Only pay me per appointment I book you. I would run the ads and I would literally be in the gym, on the toilet, calling their leads, booking them in for these treatments like Botox and fillers.
With their ad budget, right?
Yeah.
At least.
They were covering the ad
Okay,
budget at least. And from there, had some cash, started running ads in the US because I was like, the US is a way bigger market, way more potential. And I still remember that first time that I collected $1,000 over the phone, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, it just broke so many limiting beliefs where I'm like shaking. I'm like, what's the card number?
At what point, like, you were doing how much in the UK before like going to the US?
So in the UK, I'm pretty sure I got up to like 8 to 10 grand a month.
Okay.
Just on like commission models.
Wow.
So I had like 5 or 6 clients that were paying me per appointment that I booked. And I was literally just calling all their leads and booking them. And I think that's what really helped me develop sales ability as well, because I was just on the phones all day selling people.
And at that time, you say you were doing cold calling, like so for the clients, no, to get your clients
to get my clients,
cold calling, and then for them you run ads.
We ran ads, and they were coming in on a lead form, and then once they came into GHL in the pipeline, I would just call them and book them in and take a deposit.
I see. At that time, you're yourself, no team yet, no Filipino, no nothing.
Just
right?
me. I did try on the rear end of that to hire somebody from the Philippines to call my leads in the UK,
but you didn't.
But it just did not work, man.
Like,
It was
no.
I just didn't know how to hire, how to manage, how to train. Like,
I see.
I didn't have that skill yet.
So you go to the US, what happens? Like, how much money you make?
Yeah, so first 90 days of me running that agency got to 10 grand a month.
Okay.
Then pivoted to the US, started running ads in the US. I went from like 10 to 50 grand a month in another 3-month window. So it was extremely quick, because for me, it was literally just a case of, I invested in a mastermind at the time. It's called Agency Lab. It's not there now, unfortunately. Joel Kaplan used to run it. And he was very bullish on this idea of like, run ads. And I'm like, run ads for me? I'm like, that sounds crazy. How's that going to work? And it worked. And I remember I signed my first client. I was like, I got to go all in on this. So I just kept scaling up the ad spend. And then eventually, obviously, our fulfillment started to break and churn issues come in. It's not all a straight and narrow, of course. But from there, we got to 50. Everything broke, went back down a little bit to like 30, started actually building a team, investing in programs on management and leadership. And then eventually from there, we had built the foundation to be able to climb up past 6 figures a month.
When you had that training for running ads for your own agency, like what the value did you get? Like, I mean, like what kind of ads you've been running at that time, and what changed, like how your skill of running ads leveled up actually?
Yeah, the way I ran ads then and what I knew is so different, like a different language to what I know now.
I see.
Because back then the reality was running Facebook ads to acquire clients was a lot easier because not many people were doing it like 2-3 years ago compared to now. So for me, it was literally a case of me having a Canva-based image that had text on a white background that said 15 patients, 30 days, or 30 patients, 30 days. And it would just be a picture of like a med spa owner or just a picture of a device. If I ran that now, it would suck. So my evolution of marketing went from like, oh, I can just run these image ads and whippity-do, it's easy. I run them to a lead form. But the reality is, as you continue to scale your ad spend, the more you spend, you have to get better at marketing. And as well, when you run ads like that, you're going to get shit leads. Or majority are going to be really broke and they're just looking at you through the lens of the offer. That's it. So I'd say the main evolution, I mean, there's so many, man, but on the ad piece, video ads over image ads for 80% of what we do right now. And just way more creative. Obviously, Andromeda came out this year, where now targeting and all this BS doesn't really matter that much. What matters is the quality of the creative and how much creative you have. So we're just pushing so much creative, so many faces, so many angles that it's basically impossible for us not to
win, yeah.
To win,
on
exactly.
The ad game. Just saying, yeah, because our e-commerce clients relates a lot on this, and everyone have their own strategy with so many weird shit working. So yeah, like as long as you have your recipe, it's good. But I mean, like at that specific time, the big edge was just starting actually running ads for yourself.
Yeah, that was like a whole new world for me. I'm like, oh my God, this is the cheat code.
I see.
Because if you can crack running ads to get clients, having a predictable and scalable acquisition channel without you being involved in it, meaning doesn't need to be your face. If anything, my face hurt it because I looked about 10 when I was running those ads. So I couldn't put my face on the ads.
So how you were doing it?
I was using a UGC creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you pay UGC creators, you write the scripts and you tell them run those
I did
ads.
image ads and then I tried me on the ads and everyone was just taking the piss out of me in the comment section like, who is this 5-year-old guaranteeing me payments? I'm like, that's a very fair point. I developed the beard over like the last year or so. Before that, I looked like 10 years younger than now.
At that time, your focus was only on the ads, or like your focus spread out on other things like closing, sales?
I mean, it was all of it, man. You know, at
Yeah.
that stage, the way I see it is there's like 5 or 6 levels of growing an agency. The first one is you're just developing your own skills and like figuring out how to get your first few clients.
I see.
Here, I started to enter stage 2, which is the delegation dilemma.
I see.
So that's where you're handling everything. You're handling the finance, the ops, the fulfillment, the client management, the marketing, the sales, everything. And you got to start now like delegating things out and prioritizing. So I was doing everything. For me, 70% of my time was going towards marketing and sales, 30% on fulfillment, because I understood
see.
that if I could get more clients, I could spend more on ads in the same market. I can then test more. And if
see.
I can test more and have more ad spend, I can find what's working quicker. So that was my philosophy on actually focusing on
see.
acquisition allows me to get clients better results.
So more clients, more speed, more testing. So some of the clients will be happy, some.
And that's the reality of it. Like, I was never going into this with the intention of like, oh, I'm just going to run a churn or burn agency.
Yeah.
That's why we're still running today, and 70% of our cash comes from recurring revenue.
Amazing.
Because we never had that intention.
Amazing.
But that being said, I think you not focusing on acquisition is the worst thing you can do, is doing your
see.
existing clients a disservice, especially in the agency model, because the more clients you get, the more data you can accumulate,
That's
the quicker
right.
you can test. And like you might have an ad or an offer that works really well for one client. You try on another one, it doesn't work. But if you try and offer across 30 clients and it works across 20, you can bet your ass you're going to use that a lot more because you've got more data, more sample sizes, because different markets might work and other markets might be way harder. You know, it's all
see.
based on how good is the client, what does their brand look like do they have a good brand presence, Google reviews, website, and what market they're in. We found that, you know, running ads in local Miami area as an example compared to being in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, let's say even Atlanta, it's going to be way easier in Atlanta,
of
way
course.
less competition.
But like many agencies face the issue, like when they start like having clients, like they struggle scaling, you know? Like you've been like pacing it so quickly, like,
Yeah.
like even the issue didn't happen for you. I feel like that, bro. Like how you manage going from like, let's say like 10 clients to like 30. Like how you did that move?
So the way I see it is when you've got 10 clients, you can get away with things being a little bit messy. And
Yeah.
they're always messy.
That's
And
right.
the reality is you just don't know what you don't know. When I was at 10 clients, the systems that I thought we needed had to completely change to get to 30 clients.
I see.
For example, we were calling our clients leads and all 10 of those clients had different booking systems. So we wasn't booking in a native CRM like Go High Level. And all of them, for example, were running completely different offers. So there were so many variables. And I looked at that, I'm like, this would be impossible to scale to 30. So I think when you're at that level, you're like 5, 10 clients, you've got to start looking at things in terms of future pacing. Like the things we have right now, what would happen if we added an additional 20 clients to it? Would it work? So for me, going from 10 to 30, what that looks like is, okay, we need to get a project management system situated, whether that be Monday, ClickUp, your own custom solution. One place where you can see all clients, you can see the stage of them, the health of them, who's managing them, so on and so forth. You also need to make sure you're at least hiring a right-hand black hat VA. So at 10 clients, depending on how complex the fulfillment is, you might need other team members as well. I say the first hire every agency should have is a black hat VA. And that VA is like a jack of all trades. They're going to be a clone of you. The main thing is, can they learn fast? Do they have common sense? Great. You're just going to duplicate all the shit that's below your cost per hour and hand it off to them.
Is it the same girl that you work with from the beginning that you
Exactly.
want to fly in Bali?
Exactly. So my personal / executive assistant has been with me for longer than I can think of now. She's like one of my longest standing team members. She knows everything about my life, my business, the things that go on in my head. And the amount of things she does for me is absolutely incredible. Like I woke up, my business bank account's getting shut down randomly. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, we can talk about this.
Yeah, randomly.
It's my topic.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is crazy. And she was like, don't worry. I've already found 5 solutions. They're all applied for. I put a story post up and I actually connected with the founder of this one. I'm already mid-migration. Here's the checklist of what I'm working on. I'm like,
Wait, what?
cool. Right. I'm just going to go back to bed. And like that only happens
insane.
through
That's crazy.
somebody
She's good.
having
She's good.
so much context on how you operate and how you want them to work.
So at that time, you hired that black all VA.
Yep.
And then like she's able to handle so many things. And then from there, you can focus in more acquisition. And you didn't have like pressure from clients?
Oh, of course, bro.
Like you
I'm-
just don't care. You just move on.
the way I see it is, look, I'm making it sound like it was just like, oh, we just skippity-doo to fucking 10 to 30 to 50 clients. Of course, that wasn't the case. Like, there was so much shit that happened in that process. So much shit. We had clients that have threatened to sue. We've had
course.
clients that, of course, have charged back. I remember this one client, she was like, oh, I have a problem with my card on Meta. Can you pay for the ad spend and just bill me? So we were billing her like $5,000 a month, 2.5 for the retainer, 2.5 for the ad spend.
And then
6 months go by.
Charge
She
back
charges
30K.
back all of it.
Yeah, 30K.
And I land from a flight going to an event and I'm like, oh my God, my business is only doing like 15, 20 grand a month. What am I going to do here?
Yeah.
So to be clear, there was a lot of mistakes that I made. I've hired a lot of bad people, made a lot of bad firing decisions, a lot of bad management decisions. I think my philosophy on things like that, though, is I'd rather just condense the time frame. I love Elon Musk's philosophy on this, which is he wanted to land a rocket on Mars, and his team was saying it would take 5 to 10 years to develop the technology to do that. And he started challenging them. He was like, why can't we do it in 4, in 3, in 2? They were like, no, impossible. So instead of him just accepting the status quo of like, this is how long it's going to take, he fired the whole team, brought in a team of game developers who said they could get it done in 8 months. And he did it in 8 months. I don't think he landed it on Mars, but he developed the rocket that could get it there in 8 months. So that's my philosophy in business. I'm like, I don't care what time frame other people have done it in or what time frame is deemed as normal. How can I condense that time frame to be shorter than anyone has ever seen it done before?
So it's just like move on, whatever, and let's just replace teams so I have the right talents that can get the job done, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And the first like few years in the agency were absolutely, honestly, kind of miserable. It was a grind, man. Because when you're building your first business, like an agency, number one, service-based businesses are monotonous, especially if you're selling to smaller businesses that also don't have their shit dialed in. They're very emotional. They're a pain in the ass.
Of course.
And at the end of the day, you're building your first business. You don't have any leverage. You don't have any content, a brand. You don't have any collaboration, a good team. You don't have capital. So you have to supplement that with sweat equity. You got to work your ass off. So for me, that was me in my mum's basement. Even when I was making like $100,000 a month, living with my mother, working like 12, 14-hour days, just abusing stimulants.
At that time, you're just like, whatever it takes, let's just scale ads and let's see where this thing brings you, basically.
Exactly. My philosophy when I started this business, one thing I forgot to mention about my story is when I was 16, I dropped out of school.
I was going to ask you, like, bro, like, when do you finish your high school?
Yeah, I dropped out when I was 16, and my whole family thought I was crazy.
Yeah, totally.
They thought I'd been brainwashed by Andrew Tate. That's what they thought. They were like, are you okay? You've been brainwashed. This is crazy. And I had this, I'm going to do this or I'm going to die mentality. And I think you have to. With whatever you want, you have to be like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to die. And I have videos on my phone that I play back every now and again. Remember when I dropped out, the day I did, shaved my head, made a video with my family in the background. I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire in the next 3 years or I will die trying. I promise every single person watching this. And I watched that back. I was like, I'm dead serious. I'm going to shave my head. I'm going to get this done in the next 3 years. I'm going to die trying.
That's fucking insane. And then what your family said, I mean, like, you had a lot of pressure. How, like, you go through all this pressure?
I love pressure, man.
I mean, like, your family is like holding you, telling you, no, you have to finish school and stuff, and you're already drop out.
Yeah. For me,
is it like even legal to drop out at like 16 or 15?
I actually don't know. I'll be honest.
Because like in France, you like literally you have like some social like government staff, whatever.
We have that
coming
as well.
to you and telling you like you have to go to school. Yeah. It's important, you know. Re-education and shit, you know.
I don't even know. I just left and just didn't tell them. Okay. And just disappeared.
Wait, you left house, you mean?
No. I just stopped going to...
Okay.
Yeah, I just stopped going to school and I was like, I'm not going anymore.
And then you were home and your mom was like, fine. Yeah.
And I just said to her like, look, you know I'm going to do this regardless. I was a very stubborn kid. Just let me do my thing. Just give me 6 months. Trust. And my mom always believed in me in a way that like... She would let me do what I wanted to do. She knew I was stubborn. She knew there was no way on earth, if I was so set on something, I was ever going to bend for anything but what I wanted. That's just how it was.
I see.
And it worked out.
I mean, you weren't scared, like, if it doesn't work out, what could happen? Like, if I may ask, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, like, pessimistic or anything.
Absolutely, man. The way I see it is, I knew it would work. And it's not like I woke up one day and I was like, this is going to work. Of course, I think that level of belief is built through time. But I knew I had to be delusional to make it work.
I love it.
It's like small things, for example, like just reframing the way that normal people would see it. All that pressure that I had. You know, normal person would look at that and go, holy shit, that's a lot of pressure. You literally dropped out. You let go of a career that you already had that was set. I literally got approved for an apprenticeship as a rotational equipment electrician, guaranteed like $50K a year, you know, family insurance, health, all that shit.
Okay, you had that?
Yes.
Okay, so you had your backup. Cool.
But I stopped. I said, no, I don't want it. And then I dropped out and I couldn't reapply again after that. The reason being is because I see pressure as a privilege. And I just think it's reframing. It's the same with my team. When they come to me and they freak out, I'm like, great, pressure is a privilege. Think how boring life would be walking around, not having any pressure, not having any responsibility. That's where you see people going and doing these crazy things in the world. The pedophiles, the rapists, the murderers, they have no purpose. They have no fulfillment. They have no challenging thing that they have to do.
Bro, Andrew Tate is a fucking genius. He inspired you, bro.
He did, man.
Okay, so at that time, you're making like decent numbers. Like, how long it took you to get to this 6-figure months? So you're like from 10 to 100K. You tell me like a lot of turnover, changing teams, finding the right team members that can follow your vision. How long it took you, and what was the value set?
So roughly, I don't know the exact dates. Roughly, I went from 10 to 100. I remember I did 10 in around March, and then I did 100 in November or December of that year. Now, that being said, that was not 100K. I'm not an 100K a month agency here. Because what really happened is
A lot of spend.
I scaled way too fast, and I had a bunch of refunds off the back of that.
Yeah,
and we
chargebacks and
literally
shit.
went from 100, then in February the next year to 33 again. We dropped back down because the way I see it is every agency wants to get to that big goal and 100 grand a month number. But if you don't have the foundation built right, you try and build a skyscraper on a foundation of quicksand, it's not going to work. That's what I was trying to do. And that foundation is team, systems, SOP. That's exactly what I did. We signed like 40 clients in a month, and everything was insane. And we had one VA that was onboarding. Our onboarding wasn't even SOP'd. We had no project management. It was a mess. Our one CSM got so overwhelmed that she left and started trying to take the clients. And that's why we went all the way back down. So acquisition was there. Then we had to go back down to 33 for me to realize, okay, I need to get back in the trenches for like 3 months and rebuild the foundation. And then we did. And then we consistently got up to 100K. We never fell below it from that point.
Okay, so it's like March, and then like building 3 months of systems, so another like 6 months basically to get the thing nailed out.
Yeah, I believe it was timelines. I think it was like March of 2024. I could be wrong that I hit 10 grand a month. And then November was when we did like 100, but a bunch of refunds, everything broke.
I see.
Then 2025, February, that was when everything like fell apart.
And then when did that CSM
Actually, no,
left
you know
and
what? It was a
stuff?
year before that. 2023, 2024, everything fell apart. And then it was like mid 2024 again that we actually hit the 100 grand a month.
At that time, like you would say that in terms of acquisition, nothing's changed. Like it's just the same stuff.
I mean, like of course,
it's really like the team and
our ads had to get better. Absolutely, like small tactical changes, like moving from a lead form to a landing page, making sure that we had the funnel fully optimized. We had to have thank you page pre-call videos, breakout videos overcoming the most common objections. We had to have a setter in place calling the leads. We actually at that time had a closer, so we had to get me out of sales because I was the bottleneck.
at that time you were already in masterminds and programs, and so you just have basically someone telling you something and you just like implement it.
I think the best thing that you can invest in is not the S&P 500, it's the SME 500. That's what it is. Because
SME.
The SME 500.
I love
because
it.
what? You can get a 10% yearly return in the S&P if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But what return can you get if you spend
invest.
that 50 grand as an example on paying somebody that's 5 steps ahead of you to just tell you exactly what path to take and what steps to make?
Lovely.
I'd done it at every level, and I'm grateful that when I first started, I was documenting what I was doing. I've documented the whole thing from zero to now on YouTube, and someone reached out and gave me a login to a course for free. And it was Joel Kaplan's, actually. I ended up buying it.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, holy shit, this is great, because I had this limiting belief that courses were all like a scam, because everybody does, right? And then from that point on, I've continuously invested in my own education. It's the number one thing I put my own profit and personal investments into, which is education and mentorship and guidance and masterminds.
How the spark started, like when the first time you invest a lot of money in yourself, what was it? Like 10K, 20K, 30K?
It was Agency Lab.
Okay.
So I was doing, I think I was still in the UK at the time, doing like 3 to 4K a month. And I spent 2K on Agency Lab. I was shit scared. I've never spent that amount of money before, ever. You think 2K, I'm like, oh my God, my mum probably made that this month. I'm going to spend this on a program. Is this selfish? Should I be giving it to her? And I invested in it. And the way I see it is, the biggest thing that I always get from these masterminds, paying people, is not even the information. It's just breaking the beliefs. That's all it is. When I came into that, I had a limiting belief that people will not pay more than commission only to me. I also had a limiting belief that I could never take payment over the phone. I remember one of the first calls I got on with one of the coaches in that program, and we role played how to take payment over the phone and audited one of my calls. And I was like, holy shit, you can actually do that. After that, I did it, broke the belief. And I'm like, I just got addicted to this game of leveling up and identifying like, what is the mental shift that I need to have to get to the next level? Because that's all it is.
So at that time when you invest, like you were scared, but at the end you were like satisfied. And from that, like you forge that mindset, like of I will always keep investing to keep challenging my limiting beliefs. Right?
Absolutely. Because I've never invested in something that I haven't got an ROI from. No matter how bad or good it was, I don't think, and yes, of course, people should have a good product. I've invested in shit things, but I've always made an ROI on them. Because I think it's more the person going through it than the program itself. Because if you're somebody that is looking for growth in everything that you do and looking for ways to make an ROI, you'll find it.
You would end up growing.
You'll find at least one nugget. Even if the program's shit, you might have a reflection there to go, what made this so bad? And how do I make sure that I can apply this to my business so other people don't feel the same way?
Yeah. It's momentum. It's a momentum. Have you ever felt like that momentum break and you had to rebuild it at some point?
So like where I wasn't continuously growing and I felt like things were slowing down.
Exactly. That's my question. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I think there's two different ways to look at this. The first way is when I see revenue and profit, I see it as a quantifiable way of measuring your own personal development. That's all it is.
Okay.
So me now, revenue-wise, compared to where I was 3 years ago, I see it as a measurement to show how much I've developed as a character, my skills, the beliefs I've formed, so on and so forth, the connections I've made. Now, when it comes to slow down in momentum, the first one is revenue, which I've definitely had. Like right now, this month, we are having a slower month than we've had in the last like 3 or 4 months. And I hate to see that. But at the same time, I'm aware that sometimes in business, focusing on consistently trying to hit new revenue highs is the worst thing you can do, because at the end of the day, revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. You got to focus on that. And you might hit a really high month one month, but if you've got to keep like pushing and working 100-hour weeks to get to that, it's not worth it.
Of course.
So to answer your question, we're experiencing this right now. 1 step back, 5 steps forward though. I think there's phases for extreme growth and phases where you're like shelled up and you have to like rebuild everything around you, ready for that next sprint. And then on the other side of things, where I felt like me waking up and doing the things I need to do, not as much. I'll have periods where I'm feeling like I'm losing momentum a little bit, but I don't think what separates the people, or in fact, I know the thing that separates the highly successful people and the people that are somewhat successful is not that they don't ever slip up. And it's not that they don't ever make a mistake or take a day off. It's that they understand when they're experiencing a rut.
They're like taking a step back and like seeing how they can grow. And
you need to have a perfect balance of being extremely aggressive with moving fast on your goals, but also being able to go to the complete other side of the spectrum, zoom out, reflect and go, am I even moving in the right direction? Why do I feel this way? Because it's so easy to work really hard. But if you're working really hard in the wrong direction, what's the point?
You're still doing MedSpas, right?
Yes, correct. We have a CEO in that business, so he runs it all.
So MedSpas, at what time you're like, okay, MedSpas enough, I need to build a new offer. What's the process in your mind? You're like, okay, talent is good, process good, systems good now.
Good question. So we were at around 250 a month in that business.
Okay.
It was running well. I was still pretty heavily involved in it.
Okay.
And I knew that I had 2 paths. I could either cash flow this thing and keep it running and remove myself or exit. But both of them are on the same path. Now, I went through many, many operators trying to delegate. Long story short, we have a CEO in it now and it runs. I knew at that point, though, that me trying to grow this thing exactly as it is right now is going to give me a disproportionate return. Because if we look at this, where we have, at the time, $2,000 average monthly retainer, we have, like 125 clients. We have a 12% monthly churn, which is pretty standard when you're running an agency like that.
I have the same, yeah.
And if we have 125 clients, that means that we're going to lose at least 14 to 15 clients every month in a market that only has 15,000 businesses in the US. That's the market size, which is small. And we would lose 15 clients a month, meaning we would stay in the exact same spot if we just signed 15 new clients a month, which is pretty aggressive as an agency. So I realized that it's like the hill was getting harder and harder to climb in terms of big growth jumps. You know, when you're at 10K, going to 30K,
it's easy, but
can feel like you can do like a 3x of the business in 30 days. But going and doing that at 250 is really hard in that model.
100%.
So what I realized is that kind of model, smaller retainers, standardized fulfillment, in my opinion, is best at that level because your margins are going to get compressed and you need to do all this corporate BS to try and get past that point. What I realized is I had 2 paths. I could go vertical or I could go horizontal. I can either go, for example, and just go to dental in Cairo and do the same thing in a different market. Or I can go upper market and say, for example, med spas, well, why can't I do the same thing but for the device companies that sell these $100,000 machines to the med spas? These were all options I was weighing out. I was in a bit of a weird situation because I already had so much goodwill in the market from building my agency. People were paying me money for one-on-one. And I was like, I think I could make so much. And it would actually be so much more fulfilling because my heart wasn't in med spas to just help people that were literally me like 2-3 years ago. And that's what I decided to do. I made the decision that that was the best play, to build a consulting program and basically license all my systems out to other agencies with license and scale. And that's what we did.
At that time, you already started personal branding, or?
Yes. So the whole time I was running the agency, I was just raw documenting the journey. So I built so much goodwill in the market.
So at what point in terms of like team, ad spend, when you think you hit the ceiling with the med spas?
I think around that 250, 125 client mark. And it wasn't that, to be clear, I felt like we were capped because we wasn't. We wasn't capped.
It's just like the effort, the energy invested there is more worth than something else.
And I think it's very important that once you get past like 150K a month, you start looking into what other people are doing, because when you're an agency owner, you're in this box. You're in this box of agencies who are like the best at what they do, the best marketers, the best people at systems, the best people at team. And the rule number one of being in the box, you got to remember you're in the box. And you got to remember you're in this like 0.1% bubble of entrepreneurs. And there's this huge bubble of other entrepreneurs that are probably way less skilled than you, just in a better opportunity vehicle. I heard Hormozi tell a story about this where when he was selling to gyms, he was in Russell Brunson's mastermind. And he was like, I've got all these skills, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, we've got this in place. And Russell Brunson said, you've got a level 10 skill set in a level 1 opportunity vehicle. You developing your skills is so important, but what's more important at that level is the opportunity vehicle you're in.
So keep leveling up your skills, yes, but like always looking for the right opportunity
Exactly. Because the opportunity vehicle, like the thing that broke my belief on this is I would go to these masterminds that wasn't just agencies.
Yeah, and you were like, fuck, I'm good.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And my ego, like, you know, I'd like to say I have my ego in check, but my ego is very loud, but it's internal. I don't externalize it, you know? And, you know, I'll go to these masterminds and I'll speak to these people who are like doing the most random bullshit ever. Oh yeah, like I help people start a roof rejuvenation business and like just give them a course. And this guy, I'm like, okay, how much money did you make? Oh yeah, we did like $7 million last month. I'm like, what? And this guy's an idiot. I'm like, what's the margin on this? Like 60%. I'm like, what? So this made me realize, I'm like, okay, there is levels to opportunity. Yeah, there is levels to opportunity vehicles is what I realized.
That's fucking insane,
and the opportunity vehicle is everything.
If I hear like 1 million, 2 million of us, I'm like, okay, but like 7?
I mean, like another prime example of this is AI acquisition. They run a biz op selling to everyone, B2C, on how to start an AI business, an AI agency. They did $7 million in January, but that also comes at a cost. You know, I'm not going to explain all the back end shit show that apparently happened, but it comes at a cost, but that's because it's an infinitely more scalable vehicle. The market's bigger. The fulfillment isn't complex. Here's your course. Here's your account manager. You're not recurring, having to like start from ground zero every month on like, did we get profitable on our ads this month?
So at that point, you start this helping the other agency offer because you're like, okay, fuck, you want to have a better opportunity vehicle.
Yeah.
And then like, how quick you able to build another agency and like make it to like 6-figure months? Immediately, yeah?
Immediately. So to give you some context, when we started License and Scale, the agency coaching, that went from 0 to 100 in the first 30 days, immediate. But that made sense because I already had so much goodwill in the market from agencies.
Yeah.
Now we recently, I co-partnered an offer where I led the marketing, the sales team, and then I had somebody else handling all the fulfillment. I just handled offer positioning, marketing acquisition on a done-for-you AI build offer. And that got to 200K in the first month. First 30 days, we did 200 grand just on ads. And again, the reason we did that is because I think there's levels of business and there's, as Dan Martell says, new level, new devil. It's like me right now at 700 grand a month doesn't know how to get to $1 million a month. Because if I did, I would already be there. I might think I know. My ego's telling me I know, but I don't because I already be there. So point being is, if I went to ground zero again, it's not the revenue level that's impressive. It's just the skill set and the beliefs that you break, where like my minimum standard now wouldn't tolerate me going below that.
100%.
So even if I fell here, I know the amount of time it would take me to get back up here would be so quick.
Yeah, that's it happened to me the same.
Yeah.
Bro. I lost it all, and within a month I was back to like 250.
Yeah.
Actually. So I totally get your point, and it makes absolute sense. So we keep challenging our growth, so we get the right skill set to stay at like 1 million a month and above, right? Bro, that's insane. On that third offer, how you have to operate? Like what you have to do? Like nothing, or like how does that work?
Ad management, obviously, like I have a team helping with those pieces as well. Okay. So main thing is positioning of the offer. So how do we take this like commoditized service that everybody's trying to sell and make it way better than everyone else? And then funnel, VSL, ads, I'm the face of that because I already have a brand, right? The 4 C's of leverage, as Naval Ravikant says, content, code, collaboration, and capital. And one of them is content. Now I have a brand, I have a lot more opportunities coming to me. Of course. I'm the face of that. Also sales team management. So bringing the reps in, dialing in the process, the pitch, reviewing the calls, and then of course helping with overarching like systems on back end, but we have someone managing the fulfillment in
So basically the whole system.
Yeah.
You come up with like the ideas for the funnel.
Correct.
You have your personal brand. Then you manage also team, sales, operations.
And that's the shit I enjoy though, genuinely. Like I just love this game. For me, the most enjoyable thing, if I could just do nothing else, would be content, focusing on sales in terms of like managing the sales team and dialing that in, and then marketing.
I see.
Like that's literally it.
So how you create a new sales team? Is it like a new one, or you just use an asset that you reutilize?
It was kind of a new one. Yeah, because we didn't want to, I've made this mistake before where you try and like cross sales reps on 2 different offers. It just gets confusing. So we just hired new reps and ramped them up and taught them a new process.
How long like it takes you like just...
We'll get them on the phones within like 4 to 7 days.
To get them like in and working and closing?
Exactly.
But like with the right, like I guess, scripts and processes, so they have...
Yeah, my philosophy is, so when I bring a sales rep in, a setter in, really any role, we have a few core things that we run them through. So number 1 is they have a checklist of a ramp-up process.
I see.
So they have like a point grading system of things they need to do to eventually get on the phones, right? So for example, like we just ramped up a new sales rep, and one of the things on that checklist was do a role play end to end of the full process and get a score of more than a 7 out of 10, meaning they're ready to get on calls.
I see.
So we have that for every role in terms of a checklist to get them ramped up. But the thing is with like sales reps and setters, they're so easy to replace and it's such an easy position to fill. It's not like a CSM that's managing 50 clients. They're hard to replace. There's so much shit you got to unravel. Sales rep and a setter, like you can find them immediately. So we just throw them on the phones after like a few day ramp up process. And if they close in the first 10, great. If not, tough luck. See you later.
That's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So you just like, if they're good. If not, but like you say, you take more time to strategize the whole agency rather than executing it, or like you take time to create the systems?
Yes.
Or is it like an assistant helping you? Like how does that look like? Like you sit down and paper and you start strategizing with your AI agent or something?
A lot of my day now consists of me just talking to an LLM all day.
Okay.
That's literally all it is. And obviously that's dependent day to day on what I'm focusing on.
Okay.
Some days it is like once a week I have a 3-hour zoom out block on my calendar.
Okay.
Where I just zoom out my whole business and everything I'm doing in my life, and I'm just asking like, am I going in the right direction? Does what I'm doing make sense? Did I make any stupid mistakes? What lessons can I learn? So I make sure that I can course correct and move in the right direction. But majority of the day is me just focusing on, from highest to lowest frequency, the highest revenue driven actions possible. So for example, for me this morning, our nurture sequences for emails and texts and all that stuff is a little bit outdated. So I went in and personally went in and scripted out the email and the text nurture sequence for that. Could I have paid somebody to do it? Yes, but I believe that is a very high leverage revenue driving action that I can focus on, because I know that nobody understands being an agency owner on my team like I do. So
like you zoom out, you see what you need to build to work on, you build it with AI, and then you have the delivery and you move on.
Yeah, I'm all about efficiency, man. For me, how do I get more units of output out for the amount of time that I put in? Because if I can do that, I can move way faster than everyone else. And I know that the way that I use AI in my personal life right now is I just don't know anyone else doing it like I am.
Can you share to us a bit like about your AI workflow?
Yeah. So one small example would be just with anything I do. I'm using a tool right now, and this may be subject to change when you see this, because I saw Claude tags just came out or something like that, where it comes into Slack and you can tag it. Right now we're using a tool called Get Victor.
Okay, yeah.
It's in my Slack. And we can just ping it and ask it for anything. So for example, one thing I needed to do this morning is our end of day reports for each person were kind of all over the place. And it was really messy. So I went in and instead of me like strategizing, what questions do I need to ask people? Let me set it up on the forms. Let me wire up the automations. How do I know if somebody missed it or not? I just said to Victor, I said, here's the roles. Go in and scan their Slack channels. You've got the Typeform connection. Go in and make end of days for each of them. Once they're done, send me them so I can review them and give you feedback. Then once I've approved it, notify the team in Slack and pin it with the new form so they know it. And then make sure we've got a list of all our team members here. If someone misses it, you call them out by 12 a.m. that day. Call them out in the channel publicly saying they missed their end of day. And that might have taken me or somebody on my ops team like maybe like 1 or 2 hours to do. And I could do it in 5 minutes while also doing something else at the same time. So that would be a prime example. For me, I always have 2 screens now. Like I'm a big proponent in, you always want to focus on one thing because otherwise you're context switching too much. But the reality is today's day and age, that's not how the cookie crumbles. For me, it's like 4 tabs open with Victor doing 4 different things at once and me just like approving it and then also doing something else on this computer as well.
Like an AI, like approving the screen and another one just you, whatever.
Exactly.
Your day to day.
Yeah. So while I was building that, I also had like 10 one-on-ones with team members yesterday. So I'm like to the Victor, hey, do me a favor, just go through and like pull all the recaps of those calls. Tell me all the action items I need to personally take based on the discussions I had. And then there was like 5 things. I'm like, cool, can you do these 3? Because you already know how to do them. And then the other 2, I'm like, cool, okay, I can push these to next week because they're not priority. Let me just put them on my end of week review.
Why Victor and not some other tool? What's the edge with Victor?
I just found it's way better. And it's kind of hard for me to quantify why. You'll see if you use it though. It's just the functionality, the education gap in terms of actually using it. Because Claude Code, as an example, can be quite hard to use for someone that isn't very knowledgeable on AI.
I see.
And it's not very functional in the form of being able to like scan through Slack channels or build something out
Or like
in a short window of
Hermes,
time.
you know, like
Hermes is also a potential option as well. I just personally find that Get Victor is far better and far easier.
amazing. So what would you say, like, what's the next thing like for you? Like, is it like you're focused on your existing agencies or is it like on the bigger picture? Like how you project yourself?
So what I realized is right now we have 3 different offers. And what I realized is a mistake that I personally made was trying to focus on too many things at once. If I could go back, it's not like I wouldn't build the AI done for you offer. It's just that I wish I didn't do it.
Yeah, because it requires too much operations.
There's a lot of complexity in the fulfillment.
Of course.
And
of
if
course
I could
can
go
tell.
back, which we're unraveling now, I would have just focused on what was already crushing it for us, which was we have the best agency program in the world, without a doubt in my mind. And I know that. And we could make this thing so much bigger. And we could have, instead of focusing on, Hormozi's framework of growing a business is more better than new. Like, well, could we have done more in that offer? We absolutely could have. I could have done more content. I could have done better content. And in terms of new, instead of me starting a whole new thing, I've got this ecosystem of, as of right now, like 400 active agencies in our program. And I'm like, we have this ecosystem and they all have the same problems. They all need someone to manage their ads. They all need UGC creators. They all need recruitment. So why can't I just be the one-stop shop
With
to
like
solve all
agency
these
for all
problems?
of-
Yeah. So now what we're doing is we just launched the recruiting arm of License and Scale. And now we're doing done-for-you recruiting for all these people. And what better way for me to help them move faster than instead of them just following my hiring SOPs on how to hire, if they want to bias towards speed, we already have like thousands of candidates for all these roles from our own agency. Let me just like hire them for you. Yeah. So that was one thing a lesson that I learned. In terms of the bigger play for me, I'm still figuring that out. Because I think I've been moving so fast over the last 4 years that sometimes, of course, that comes at a cost. Everything in life is trade-offs. And one of those for me was not zooming out enough and really spending the time to think and reflect on what I truly want. Of course, for me, immediate goal, I want to get to consistent $1 million months. I do, and I know I want to build something really big. I just don't know what that is yet. I'm still figuring that out. And I think in the meantime, what better way to buy time than continuing to build goodwill in the market, providing value for free, making a lot of money, and just optimizing all the 4 C's of leverage in my personal life.
So right now you're thinking like taking a step back and like focusing on helping those agencies. And what about the fulfillment AI thing? You think of stopping it or?
It's not like, no, of course we're
You
going to
can't,
fulfill for
you
them. We're
can't.
going to bend over
Yeah, of
backwards.
course.
Like the whole team's fully aware of that. We've got to make sure that we get these guys great results. It's just that we're not going to keep acquiring clients for it. That's it.
Yeah, you just let it.
Yeah, valuable lesson for me. And I'm grateful that, again, just reframing everything to be positive. I'm grateful that it took me 70 days to realize that
and not like years and
rather
shit.
than it being 2-3 years.
And then like how you invest like your Like right now you do like 700K. Like how the financial look like? How you reinvest the things? Is it like team? Is it like ads? Is it like what do you do with the
Good question.
With the money?
There's how I invest it now, and there's how I'm going to be investing it from the lessons I've recently learned. So how I'm investing it now is a lot of my profit goes into one of two places. Number one, coaching, courses, education, masterminds, because the SME 500 is the best thing that I can invest in. Another thing I invest that money into is, just basic S&P 500. Because at a certain point, it would be kind of financially stupid for me to try and force spend 300 grand a month or something like that into like coaching. That would be ridiculous. And I would just get overwhelmed with everything I'm doing. That's what I'm currently investing in. That's literally it. What I'm going to be investing more of that into moving forward. And the reality is this isn't really like me pulling out of pocket to do this. This is just like me being okay with a small margin decrease for future gain, which is more talent and pulling the talent pool to a higher level quicker. So for example, we don't desperately need an operations manager right now, but it would certainly help to have one now for when we grow in 6 months. And it might mean that our margin temporarily decreases. So I'm bringing on an operations manager that is probably going to make like 5 figures a month with comms and potentially a percentage of net as he grows. And that's not something we need right now, but it's something I want to invest in because we need to get from where we are to where we want to go. We need a way better talent.
So you're like investing now for scale that's going to happen in like 6 months.
Exactly. Preparing for the future.
For the future.
The way that I'm investing now and thinking about that was obviously different to when I was doing 100 grand a month, 200 grand a month.
Of course.
Because initially, my philosophy was always, I need to have a war chest. I think every single founder should have a war chest.
What do you mean?
A war chest meaning just a hoard of money that you have set aside that you never touch unless you need it. Unless a really good opportunity comes across the table,
I see.
your business is going to die and you need to invest in something. Having a war chest is so important.
What would you recommend like for that war chest? I
think it depends. It really does depend. For me, my first initial goal was...
like a percentage of what we earn? Or
yes, good question. So for me, I was taking 100% of my profit. I kept, and I would recommend everybody do this, before I had 100 grand set aside in the bank, tax-free, my living expenses were nothing. They were zero. I lived below my means. I barely traveled. And I would take all of my profit and all of it would go in the war chest. Not a single thing wouldn't. But then, of course, at a certain point, you can start taking more risk and investing a lot of it back into it. For me, my minimum, first off, was how do I get to 100 grand set aside in the bank? And then it was 500. Then it was $1 million and yada, 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 yada. And I think past like 7 figures liquid, really, you should just be investing more into education.
Taking more risk, make your money to work. Invest in whatever. We talk about profits. Let's talk about losses as well. Like, do you have like some moments in your journey that you lost a lot of money? Some mistakes that you regret that you done, maybe some team members, anything like.
I'm glad to say this, but I don't have any stories where I'm like, I went bankrupt.
Okay.
I haven't had that.
Okay.
That being said, I have had a fair few shit show stories. So the first one would be when we went from that 100 to 33 grand a month and we were unprofitable.
Oh yeah, it was chargeback and stuff.
Which was, we had one client success manager and she left and she exported all the clients she took.
No, I had this story so many times in my career. It happened to me more than once.
My client success team like 4 or 5 times. They're hard to find good ones, you know? That was one. Then it happened again, but this one was way worse. Because this guy was a killer and he deluded me into believing that our whole team was shit. And I fired like a half our team and he was running their roles and he was running around like a headless chicken. I just bought him like a $3,000 MacBook to say thank you. Day it landed, left, exported clients, started dialing them. That was another. And lesson learned. But I think in times like that, you can't look and go, oh, I'm a victim, the world's against me.
I just gave. And
I'm just like, lesson learned. Like, I should have picked up on that this guy was a walking red flag. It's a recruitment constraint. Another example recently would be really with this AI offer. I think that was a big mistake. Our margins are compressed lower than they have in a long time. We overhired. It was very messy, and I regret doing that. I think we would have been in a way better spot, in a way simpler spot, if I just kept the main thing.
So just focus on your main.
Focus on the main thing, man. Like, the more things you do, the harder it is to focus. I'd like to say, and this is my ego speaking, I'm like one of the best people when it comes to like organization, efficiency, and systems, and like organizing myself. But having 3 different offers and having all different stats and all different acquisition channels and all different fulfillment is hard to keep track of.
It gets confusing, and you don't know where you put your focus and your energy on.
Exactly.
Bro, like you're 20 right now. Those guys they were with you in high school, they tried to get in touch with you. Bro, when I was 20, I go to uni and the guys are like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's the news? Some guys still reach out to you?
Of course. You know, I've still got some good friends from home. We don't speak a lot because...
Obviously, like different projects.
Yeah, and I think as well, for me, I've always said, like, look, I don't think there's any level where I'm going to get to. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm better than you or anything like that. I don't see it that way. What I do see, though, is whether I like it or not, as you continue to grow, your beliefs change. It's like the gap in what you can relate to with those people just gets wider and wider. And I find it every time I go back home. Say I like catch up with some old friends. I find that the gap of what we can relate on gets wider and wider. It's like I just put a button on pause and it's the same shit.
Yeah,
but like,
they just on repeat the whole time.
Yeah,
Just on repeat the whole time.
But yeah, of course, like they reach out, they see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's actually some of them that are trying to do the same thing and I'm helping them out.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Some of them.
Yeah.
Just like 2-3 guys. Or,
Yeah.
Very inspiring. Very inspiring. They are. Is it working for them already or?
A little bit. Yeah.
They're getting there.
They're getting there. And like at the end of the day, you know, I tried when I was starting to pull people up with me, but you can lead a horse to water, you can't force it to drink. They've got to really want it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Most people don't. You can't force someone to want it. They've got to have that inside them.
Yeah, it has to be inside. Like you and Andrew Tate, it clicked. You have some other fellas from Andrew Tate that like scaled like crazy, or?
Yeah, bro. I've still got a few friends from that, you know, there was a select few of us that still are continuously growing and are good friends. So it came full circle. It's really funny.
So those stories, like how you vision yourself with just like in the next, like, let's say 2-5 years. Because bro, you're like, I'm thinking like, what's the next big things for you? Like, would you see yourself in the same space? Or maybe you're thinking you're going to go to something different?
I'd be lying if I said I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
I think, you know, for all of us, it's our first time round on this planet. So I don't think any of us have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And I know what my first immediate moves are. My first immediate moves are like, how do we get to $1 million a month? How do we develop the team to be a team of absolute animals? How do I get people on the team that are as bought into this vision as me? I know in the next 2, 5, 10 years, my business and my brand is going to be fucking huge. I know that. I know that for a fact. And I know that whoever is on my team with me is going to come up on that rocket ship as well.
I see.
I just don't know exactly what that looks like yet.
What about like, I don't know, lifestyle?
Yeah, good
travels.
question. Good question. I think the last year or so, I've traveled more than I usually would. Yeah, I've invested very heavily this year actually into like mindset stuff, psychology, and
like how much? Maybe you can inspire someone like multiple 6 figures? Or?
Yes, yeah. So for example, one person that I've been working with, his name's Nero Knowledge, and I paid him $50K for 10 hours, 10 calls.
Lovely.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that we worked on is obviously like removing limiting beliefs. But the most important thing that I took away from that is my identity was so attached to the work I put in that I needed to work less. And the first thing he told me to do is I took 4 days off work. I took 4 days off. I've never done that before since I've started. And I was freaking out. But by day 2, by day 3, by day 4, I just like had this like new sense of like gratitude. I'm like, fuck, man, like life is beautiful. And I've been like so addicted to working and like mission and action items that I forgot to also like enjoy the fruits of my labor. And that's why since that, which was, about like 4 or 5 months ago, I've been spending more time with friends, with family, enjoying myself, saying yes to things maybe I wouldn't say yes to because I just want to experience more. My philosophy on life is you got to max out all stats. You can't be the fat guy that has a business. You can't be the guy that's incredibly dialed in but runs makes $2,000 a month. You've got to try and max out all your stats. And that's really what I'm trying to shoot for. Like, I want to be an athlete. I want to have a business that does billions of dollars a year. I want to have a great relationship with my wife. I want to have great kids that look up to me. Like, I want to have it all. And I don't think there's any reason why you can't.
Let's fucking go. It's like a video game. You had time to play when you were young?
Of course, bro. I was addicted. That was my first YouTube channel.
What were you playing?
Fortnite.
Okay.
GTA, Black Ops.
Okay.
Ark. Ark was a good game. Rust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like in our generation, it was just like League of Legends.
Yeah. You see, I'm too young for that. Yeah. I think the thing that's often undermined, I know we were talking about this briefly before we started today, is people always want like the strategies, the tactics, like what's the 3 things that will get my agency to $100,000 a month?
Yeah.
When like the reality is, The strategies are always going to be there. They're always going to change. But one thing that you can't just like copy from somebody else is their mentality and the beliefs that they have. And like, for example, the way I see it is there's skills and then there's meta skills. So like a skill would be you being consistent. You could argue that's a trait as well, but I would also argue it is a skill to be consistent in something. But a meta skill would be having the ability to learn quickly and be intelligent. So the definition of learning is a change of behavior. It's like if I punch you in the face 5 times in the nose, how long does it take you to eventually like slip or duck or like roll? Some people who are less intelligent, it might take 20 times. The people that are the highest degree of intelligence, after the second time, they'll start slipping and ducking.
Yeah, adapting too.
Yeah, intelligence is rate of learning. These are meta skills that if you can understand, okay, I can really be good at any skill that I want. I can develop any trait I want. If I can just be good at learning, which therefore means being intelligent. And that's the way that I see everything. Just break it down into first principles. Like anything I want to learn, what actually is it in its simplest form? How do I adapt and learn quickly, therefore making me intelligent? And I think if you can go through the world remembering how simple these things really are, where there's so many strategies and tactics you can get bought into and carried away with. But if you just think about like, okay, how do I gather information quickly? How do I take action on that information quickly? And then how do I zoom out, reflect, and make sure I'm moving in the right direction? You'll win. Like that's literally it. It's not the people that are most intelligent win. I have people in my program who have like the highest IQs. They're so intelligent on paper.
They're not executing.
Yeah, but they're not moving fast enough.
Yeah,
my philosophy is, I've got to take into consideration what I'm going to do, but aggression is my forefront of everything I do. Because the more times, the more darts I shoot at that dartboard, the more are going to land in the bullseye. I'd rather shoot 100 darts at the dartboard and throw one that maybe lands near the red. I'd rather throw 100 and work twice as hard and have 10.
Yeah, but like some people will tell you like, hey, I don't know, like they're trying to do it, but they are just slower, you know? At the end of the day, like not anyone have this willingness, you know? So maybe it's just like that, you know, for some guys.
Yes and no. I do agree that certain people have different traits, genetics. I believe in all of that stuff, absolutely. But I don't think there's any benefit in believing that. Because what you believe is what you see.
Exactly.
It's like the internal reflects the external.
Exactly.
It's like your internal is the cause, the reality is the effect. And that's why whatever your beliefs are, you see more of it and they get stronger and stronger. So when I started, I didn't think I was good at sales. I hated sales. I hated like just in general speaking to people. And I carried that belief with me until eventually I just decided one day, I'm like,
actually,
I made that decision. I'm going to be really good at sales. In fact, I'm going to decide right now. I'm going to do it because the internal reflects the external. Because manifestation is just shifting internally to a degree in which you're no longer emotionally dependent on seeing reality change. I decide and then it happens. I just act in alignment with that belief. So I think like regardless of what those limiting beliefs are, there's no benefit to believing them. Just start believing the opposite.
It's like train that muscle.
You got it.
Train that muscle until it becomes your reality.
Yeah, and I think who you're around is also very important as well. You know, if you're around a lot of people that move slowly, that indulge in bad habits, that don't have the success they want, you're going to be like that person. Wow, that's why you got to be around the right people as well.
How's your environment look like? You live with like your business partners or?
Yeah, I'm living with a few friends of mine right now. They all run businesses as well. So we all work a lot in the day and then we work hard, we play hard. So we're all aligned on values and what we do.
You wanted to share other advices. That was the first one you wanted to share. I
think that was the main one, yeah. Just like overall understanding that. I understand that when you watch podcasts like this, it's so easy to pedestalize that person.
Yeah, of course. But I see you like we were in Dubai and like you here standing up, asking questions and like having that crazy energy. And I think that's the willingness that leads you to the success.
Absolutely. It's gun to head mentality, man. And
exactly.
Yeah, for me, I'm on the furthest of the extroversion spectrum that you can get. And there's other people that might be further on the introversion spectrum. You got to play to your strengths and you got to delegate your weaknesses. I don't believe in, when you're starting out, you got to be okay with doing everything. But I want to play to my strengths and delegate my weaknesses. That's what I want to do. What I'm really good at is moving fast. What I'm not as good at is cleaning up the mess I leave behind. That's why I have people on my team that clean that mess up.
Interesting. I think I'm the same. I'm also extrovert and stuff. What would you say? Let's take my example. Like I'm doing like 250K a month in average. Yeah. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Like how would you diagnose my situation to eventually like help my agency scale?
Yeah. So in terms of like going in and understanding where the constraint is and how do you get it to like 500 a million?
Yeah, let's say 500K, for example.
So the first thing I always look at is have you got a supply constraint or a demand constraint? It's always one of the two.
Yeah, we talked before.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I got definitely like a supply constraint.
Right. So then we've got to break that down into first principles. So you've got a fulfillment problem. You have enough people coming to you wanting to buy your stuff.
That's correct.
So when you say there is a supply constraint, what does that actually mean if we break that down? Because we've got to be extra specific.
Like if we think about it right now, a lot of our revenue, like before it was just 25% of the revenue that goes to like external partners. Right now it's increasing to like almost 50%. And like our solutions that just depends on ourselves, we're getting less tractions on them. So it's about like improving our initial product, like reinventing it. Like it's been already like almost 6 years now.
Right.
So it's about like we're building, like I hired like a tech team. We're developing like a new product that will help us like with everything that we do in terms of like meta restrictions and things like that. And once the solution is ready, like we're able to see what are the threats for our clients. We're going to just be like, hey, here's the report. Here are the threats. Would you like to work on them? Yes, no, and if yes, let's attack. Right now, we're waiting client input. We want to be providing the input for the client.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I think
that makes sense.
It does. And obviously I kind of know what you do, but I don't know the full scope of how it works.
Of course.
What I would say is the first thing is, when you onboard a client, they might come in with the intention of having one specific service.
Yeah,
so you have that
correct.
onboarding call that you can frame as like a report.
Yeah.
It might be like a social media report. And on that report, you might then find other things that might benefit them based on the onboarding information they put in. So let's say, for example, they come to you and go, my Instagram just got banned. I need help getting my Instagram back.
Yeah.
Cool. Next step for enrollment is go ahead and fill out the onboarding form. We're going to do a full research report on an onboarding call.
That's correct.
And then that report can break down, your Instagram's banned, so we're going to get you that back. That's going to cost this. We're going to get it done in this window of time, and here's how we're going to do it. But then after that, man, we need to make sure that we prevent this from being an issue moving forward.
Exactly.
The way we do that is you need legacy verification.
Yeah.
Right? And then from
Compliance.
there... Yeah.
Copycats, people that copy your shit, people that add you fake followers and whatever it is, like all those threats, we scan it and then we take action.
I think that would be a really easy way of immediately increasing LTV and then diversifying across all the things you have. As well, if like 50% of net is going towards external partners.
Yeah, now we're pulling this number down. We're like, fuck that shit. We're pulling that number down. So we're getting back to the normal stuff, and we're pushing our clients to like take our stuff. Because I think it was a training issue, and like we had a lot of turnover, a lot of like few team members like leaving and stuff. So now we're like restructuring, getting the right talents again, and then we're gonna be able to move forward. But like, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna make it just about time and having the right talents, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely now the big edge was for us, like leveraging AI, leveraging tech teams, and just evolving the stuff, because we're just doing marketing and like the product didn't really improve, and some competitors came in the market and they've been crushing it within a very, very short period of time, just having that tool that we're talking about for years,
Yeah.
So
you got to be on the ball with product improvement.
yeah, and I think maybe we got comfortable or something.
Bro, it happens.
But,
I mean, it's happened. It happens.
Okay,
to me
we're here
many
to
times.
grow again and keep learning. Bro.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Like, it's funny that when I launched my info product for agencies, there was many people in the market that were crushing it.
Yeah.
We took so many of their clients, and we're doing way better than majority of them now, if not all, because that's why it's so important. Like, people always want the newest thing, the most up-to-date information, the best product.
That's true.
You got to constantly be on the ball with R&D and improving it.
I mean, like, we always invest in R&D. It's just that the vehicle of R&D can always change.
Yeah.
I invested like 50K in AI last year, and it was cool. I learned a lot of things, but what I learned the most is I should just have joined the right mastermind so I could use it the right way, because what I was doing was totally nonsense. It was an absolute waste,
Yeah.
But we grow like we learn the hard way. It's okay. It's okay. It's part
And you
of
take away lessons from it, right? And I'm sure you won't make that mistake again.
Yeah,
That's
for
the great
sure,
thing. You either learn from someone else's mistakes or your own.
For sure. 100%. Bro, Cam, you're an amazing dude.
You too, man.
I love you, mate. We had a good time in the US. We're gonna catch up again in Latin America. I hope it's gonna be sick. How's gonna be how's Bali? How's gonna be your weekend? Tell us more about
bro, it's great here. Yeah, honestly, this place surprised me genuinely.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks is the time zone.
Yeah.
That's especially with US clients.
Yeah.
And like US team. Like, I'm like half asleep at the same time right now.
Maybe we go to Mexico. We build a team there. And then that Mexican team handles it.
Bingo,
all.
I like that plan.
So that's what I personally did.
Yeah.
So it fixed a lot of stuff regarding the US market. But I think Of course, they won't be like you're investing on them. It's gonna be like at 80%, not like 100% like yourself. But it's okay. Better you delegate, and at least it's taken care of. So
Yeah.
so it's cool. Cam, you're the insane dude that is making 700K at 20 years old, bro. It's genius. I love it. I think it's gonna be like we're gonna get younger and younger people getting bigger results faster. Like, bro, when I was 20, I just started business. You know, so it's very. I'm very excited to have you here, and I think it's gonna inspire a lot of guys. So thank you for.
Let's get it, man. Appreciate having me on.
Thank you for being here, bro. And yeah, bro, amazing.
Let's get it.
Guys, you will have the links of Cameron. If you want to scale your agency, get your agency to the next level, learn with the best AI solutions that's working right now, Cam is your guy. And yeah, I will put your links and people can follow you and stuff. Until next time, let's scale unlimited. Let's go, guys. Bye-bye.